Welcome back to my channel Lomzy Sews. In today's sewing tutorial, I will show you how to cut a high-low flare top. If that's what you want to learn, make sure not to skip any part of this video. In my previous video, I made a high-low flare top, sleeveless high-low flare top. This time around, I'm going to be making a high-low flare top with sleeve. If this is what you like to learn, make sure not to skip. To make this, I'm going to use this fabric. I have 2.5 yards here, so I cut the 2.5 yards into two, as you can see. So with it like this, we are going to make the circle top. I have cut it into two. You can decide not to cut it into two, but I just cut up the 2.5 inches into two. This is the selvage, so I'm going to take the selvage like this, and I'm going to fold it into triangle like this. So this is a circle top, and that's how to cut it. Next thing I'm going to do is to get a line. This line will serve as the shoulder line, and this line you're going to make sure it's your shoulder line measurement. So shoulder divided by 2 is what I have here. Next, I'm going to take my armhole length, which is 10 inches. I'll mark it here, and I'm going to square this line out like this. As a beginner, the easiest way to measure your armhole length is to measure it the way you have seen on the screen. Take the measurement from the back of your backbone to the armhole length like this. That way it will be easier and you have an accurate armhole measurement. On the armhole line, I'm going to mark the shoulder divided by 2, and I will square it up to the shoulder width. So I have 8 inches, that is what I have marked here, and I'm squaring it out. Next, I'm going to mark the neck width. First of all, I'm going to mark neck divided by 5, and I have 2.75 here. And on this shoulder line, I'm going to drop a shoulder sloping of 1.5 inches. I'll go ahead and connect this line to the neck width. Next, I'm going to mark the design of the neckline. I'm going to mark 4 inches here, and for the neck depth for the back, I'm going to mark 1 inch. I'll connect it to the shoulder. For the front neck depth, I'm going to mark 4 inches. If you're on the small size, you can do 3.5 inches. I'll go ahead and connect this like this. On the armhole line, I'm going to mark the bust divided by 4. You're going to add 0.25 ease allowance to that because this is a circle top. So next, I'm going to mark the armhole curve. For me to do that, I'm going to divide the shoulder into 2, as you can see me doing. Then I'm going to connect this to this. This will be for the back armhole curve. You can use your free hand to do that. If you're using your free hand to do this, you're going to come out from the angle 1 inch. I hope you might understand if you're a beginner, but if you're not a beginner, you should already know what I'm talking about. Next, I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch on that line, and I'm going to connect this like this, and this will be for the front armhole curve. If you're a beginner watching this, the front armhole curve and the back armhole curve are not always the same thing. So this is the back armhole curve, and that's the front. Next, I'm going to curve this to make a flare. So as wide as you want, just draw it as wide as you want. Next, I'm going to take the length of the top. So it's a high-low top. First of all, I'm going to mark the length of the back flare top, and I'm going to take it round like this. What I have here is 36 inches, so I'm going to mark 36 inches round. This will be the length for the back. And for the front, I want it to be a high-low. As you can see, I'm going to make the front to be 34 inches. So from up here again, I'm going to measure 34 inches for the front, for the high side of the flare top. I'll go ahead and connect it to the side like this. Next, I'm going to cut this out. So for me to cut this out, I'm going to cut the neckline. For the back, I'm going to cut the back first. So I'll cut out the back. After cutting out the back, I'll cut out the front. I added half inch to the shoulder line so that it will not be short, and I'm going to cut the rest the same thing, because when I was adding, I added sewing allowance to this. I'll go ahead and cut out the hem of the back, the high side of the back. You guys should already know what I'm talking about. So this is the back now. I'll go ahead and take out the back so that I'll cut the high side of the front. So go ahead and take out the back like this. And I'm going to fold the front again so that it will be easier for me to cut out the armhole for the front and the length of the front of the top. I'll cut the neckline and the armhole for the front. Next is for me to sew this. First of all, I'm going to join the shoulder, and I'm going to go to my machine now and sew the shoulder. Sew half inch here and half inch here. After sewing this, this is how it's looking. Next is for me to cut the sleeve. For me to cut the sleeve, I'm going to take the measurements of the armhole curve. You take the measurement of the armhole curve for the back. I have 10 inches, and that's what I'm going to use for the sleeve. To cut the sleeve, I have my fabric folded into 4 like this. Next, I'm going to take all the horizontal lines. First, I'm going to mark a line that I'm starting out from, and I'm going to take the horizontal lines. So first, I'm going to take 5 inches for the sleeve head and 16 inches for the elbow line, and the length of sleeve I'm using is 21 inches. And then I'm going to add 1 inch hemming allowance. So this line is the sleeve head. Here is the sleeve head, here is the elbow, and this is the length of the sleeve. Next thing I'm going to do is to draw the sleeve head. For me to do this, what I have here is the 10 inches I got from the armhole curve, which is here. I'm going to make a diagonal line like this, and from that place to the head I have 11 inches. I'll divide that by 2, which will give me 5.5, and I'm going to use this to mark the sleeve head. I'll curve this up like this and touch this place and go under like that. This is the easiest way to mark your sleeve head. Next, I'm going to mark the elbow circumference. For you to mark that here, you're going to take your arm, the measurement, round the measurement like this. You keep your hand, don't keep your hand straight, keep it like this so that you get the right ease for your armhole, for your elbow. And I'm going to divide whatever I have, I'm going to divide it by 2 and mark it here. Also, for the 3/4 sleeve, I'm going to take whatever I have here and I'm going to add half inch to that and mark it here, and also added half inch for sewing allowance, so I added 1 inch all through. So I'll go ahead and connect this like this. I'll go ahead and cut this out. Next, I'm going to notch the sleeve head, this center of the sleeve. So I'll notch it here, and also I'm going to lower the front sleeve. You know, we lowered on the armhole. I'll go ahead and lower this side, and this side will be the front sleeve head. So for me to know that, I'm going to make a notch here. So I'm going to pinch this and make a notch. With this is going to be the front armhole. So I'm going to place my top here like this. This side is the front. I'm going to align the front, back side, right side facing together. I'm going to align this like this. As you can see how the sleeve aligns properly. I'll go to my sewing machine now and sew this. This is it after sewing it. Next, we are going to sew the side seam. So right side facing together, I'm going to go to my machine now and sew 1/2 inch away. This is it after sewing it. And also I have hemmed the sleeve. I hemmed it with 2 inches. Also for the lower part, I have overlocked the lower part. I'm going to go to my machine now and I'm going to fold it once to hem it. And then for the sleeve, for the neckline, you're going to bind it. If you want, you can do facing for that. If you had done facing, would have done that earlier, but I want to use bias for the neckline. Now guys, we have come to the end of today's sewing tutorial. If you enjoyed this video and you learned any new thing, make sure to drop that in the comment section. And guys, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.